not to have a big forum when there's an empty seat. So we're going to run this a little more like a town hall meeting. Please go ahead with your questions. They will be collected and they will be asked. Um, make this, yeah, yeah, if appropriate. We do some if appropriates on the questions. If you don't have questions, guess what? I have about 25 or 30 that I can throw at her to elicit some information for you as you form your opinions. So, with that, I'm going to ask Hannah DeCiccio to introduce herself for roughly 2 minutes, and then we'll turn it over to some other questions from the audience.
Thank you so much to both of you, League of Women Voters, for moderating this debate. It looks like it's going to be more like a town hall. And I want to thank all of you for coming today, the library for hosting, Dr. Edwards, and all the teamwork. I see all of the fabulous with the microphones and the recording of this. Thank you all. I appreciate your coming this morning. Let me tell you really briefly just a little bit about myself. I think most of you, I see a lot of friendly faces in the audience. Most of you know me. In case you don't, I've lived in Winter Park for 41 years. I'm an attorney. I used to be an assistant district attorney in Massachusetts, Florida. I joined the Lowndes firm when I got down here, became their first woman partner. From after I had my two children, I joined my husband's law firm and really became disengaged for a little bit while my children were young. We had parents who needed our help raising a family, working. And once they got into high school, I started re-engaging, and I was appointed to the Code Enforcement Board for 5 years, where I was chairperson. Excuse me, Planning and Zoning for 6 years, Economic Development Advisory Board, the Orange Avenue overlay, and also different community. I was a member of Council 101, different community activities. And it was during my time on the OAO and on Economic Development Advisory Board that I was approached to run for commissioner. And I decided to run because I love Winter Park, having my children were born and raised here, living here for 30 some odd years at that time, and having served on so many boards, I really understood the city. We were also a small business owner. We had a law firm on Morse Boulevard. So I understood the city from a lot of different angles. So I decided to run because I noticed that we are just a beautiful jewel, but we needed some polishing. So when I pledged and when I was elected, put certain things in. We have new playgrounds now. Excuse me, the final one will be finished, which is MLK Park this summer. Excuse me. 7 out of 9 of our playing fields were inoperable about 65% of the year. They are all fixed, and kids are on them all the time, all different ages. So that's a real plus. Excuse me, I have a frog in my throat or something. I don't know.
There's some water.
Just take a sip of water. I am so sorry. Yeah.
It's that season in which allergies are starting to attack us with addition to colds.
Thank you. So that's better. Thank you very much. So we got the playgrounds, the playing fields. We have a new stage in Central Park. We have hurricane preparedness plan. And one of the major issues when I joined the commission was that I remember talking to right before I joined it, actually, I went to all the department heads, had a meeting with them. And Chief Michael Deal at the time of police said, Sheila, we are just hurting. We are down over 20 officers. We're not paying them what's comparable salary to the other, Maitland, Altamont, Castleberry. So got them raises, and I'm very, very pleased to say that as of March, we will be back to full staffing of our police and fire, which has been 7 years since they were there. They now have the best response time in all of Central Florida. There's so much that this whole commission has done. We've worked on so many different issues, but fiscally, Winter Park is as strong as it's ever been. We have in our reserves between $19.1 and $19.2 million. We have not raised your millage rate in 16 years. And we have the lowest millage rate in all of Central Florida. We are strong financially. We are maintaining our staff. We have increased our police presence. And one thing you all ought to know too is about our police. We have no control or no jurisdiction, as you know, over the Orange County Public Schools, but they did come to us and ask us to put an officer in each school We now have an armed officer in every elementary, middle, and two at Winter Park High, and they pay us 60,000 per officer to pay the city every year. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in, but that is one thing that we do with County Public School is have our police officer in there every day. That means less boots on the ground for us. So we're hiring community service officers that can handle a lot of the things that police could. For example, they can go to um, if there's been a minor fender bender, they can go and exchange insurance information. They can do crossing guards in the morning and afternoon. They're a lot less money and they're not part of our pension and profit, which is almost 50% of our budget every year. So the reason I'm running for mayor is as I've been on the commission, and this is a team effort with our whole commission, and Commissioner Weaver is here today. I may make an initiative, and I have to tell you, I've crashed and burned a lot. The rest of them say, no, we're not going to go forward with that. But on all of the major issues, we're in agreement, especially on infrastructure. And right now, Hurricane Ian laid it bare, but our drainage, our streets, and the reason some of our brick streets and our streets keep collapsing, even though we fix the bricks, is because the infrastructure underneath can't hold it. So we are in the process of, we've had a master transportation plan done. What we want to see is we know we need to fix our sidewalks. We need to fix our bike paths. We need to fix our streets. So we've got a plan how to go forward, what's most important, what we can put down the road a little bit longer. We've also got plans. We've also got 3 basin studies going on to figure out our drainage. We know we've got flooding problems. We've got we've got a lot of problems. Those studies will be in this summer. We've already started working on some of the what I call low hanging fruit, things that we know can't wait. Dredging, fixing our weirs. We got 3 million from the federal government. We've already started working on some of that. We got another 500,000 we're getting from the county. We're putting that towards a lot of the problems. But this is going to be hundreds of millions of dollars to fix our total infrastructure. To that end, I'm working with the state, Jason Broder, to get funding because he's in charge of appropriations and we don't have to have it go through the House, the Senate, to the governor to sign. He has money he can appropriate specifically. In fact, there's $1 million right now that we are going to get, one to help us with the turn, 500 to help us with the turn lane, another 500 to help us with some more drainage issues. I'm also working with Maxwell Frost's office for federal money and working with the county because a lot of times the money from the federal government comes down to the state gives it to the county, then the county doles it out to the different cities. So we know we've got problems. We know we need funding to fix them. So they go hand in hand. I'm working to make sure we get the funding to fix our infrastructure. That is what one of my key issues is right now. I always want to maintain, and it's the charm, history, culture of Winter Park. That's what makes us so special. That's why our property values are as high as they are and continue to grow. That's why businesses want to keep joining and coming into Winter Park. So it's a balance. We have a wonderful, vibrant business community. We've added so many businesses, whether the McLaren car dealership that's going to come in. It's really not a car. It's really a luxury automotive. I mean, those cars will never be outside in a lot. There's going to be 3 or 4 cars inside all the time. But we've got Bang& Olufsen. There's only 17 in the entire country. They chose Winter Park as one of to open up a new store. We've got Winter Park Village that is just being renovated, all types of wonderful restaurants, stores in there, movie theater. We've got, if you look down 1792, I know there's 5 chicken places. That's not the best. I agree. I totally agree with that. The jokes about that are never ending. But we've got some wonderful new businesses opening there. Ferguson's is relocating their showroom from Orlando to 1792. We've got, as I said, the of Winter Park Village. That wonderful where Paris baguette and there's a salad place, all of that. That's really looks good. So and you've got Ravadage with your hotels, your restaurants, your offices, banks. That's completely being developed. So we're working with our businesses in Hannibal Square. There's some wonderful new businesses going in all the time. And I asked them, in fact, I went to a meeting with the entrepreneurs in Hannibal Square, and that's everything from the owner of a barber shop to a dress shop to the Bang& Olufsen to insurance companies, a law firm. And I said, what do you need most from the city? And they said, we need our infrastructure. We need to make sure we're not flooding. We need to make sure that there's parking. We need to make sure that there's not potholes. One of them had a big pothole in front of his business that definitely wanted that fixed right away. So the city, there's a lot we can do working to make sure our infrastructure is good. It's good for business, it makes them flourish, but it's also good for all of us residents because driving down these brick streets right now, I know it's rough. I live off of Pennsylvania and drive it every day. I know how bad it is. And so we're working. This is my focus and goal, and I want to make sure that our infrastructure. I leave this when we leave. It's better for us now, but it will be better for the future generations to come in, and it will continue to make us the best place to live. We've talked a while. There's so many other issues, but I am happy to answer any questions anyone has. And if not, we do
You know,
have Carol with a bunch of
I have
questions.
some questions that came in for
Okay.
you.
Okay.
What is your favorite part about being a commissioner?
Oh, definitely meeting everybody and talking with people. I love it. I mean, you are the heart and soul, my eyes and ears. I learn so much. I meet so many wonderful people. My absolute favorite part of being commissioner.
Okay. What is your position on Senate Bill 1628 presented by Senator Broder regarding the ban on gas leaf blowers? It's hard to say. Gas leaf blowers ban.
Okay. The reason, and I can't say too much because this is going to be coming before the commission again, but what I can say is the reason we enacted the ban initially almost 3 years ago was during COVID. The noise level, people were working from home doing Zoom, and the noise level, the decibel level of the gas blowers, they couldn't carry on a conversation. They couldn't have their Zoom meetings. So there was a outcry from the residents saying, please, can you ban these? We did our research. There's now 6 or 7 cities in the state of Florida that had already actually banned it. Uh, Palm Beach, Coral Gables, South Miami, Miami Beach, and there's I can't remember the other couple cities, but they had done it and it's been working great. So we researched it, we looked at it, and we said, we're just going to do it for the leaf blowers, not the rest of the equipment, not the mowers, not the weed whackers, nothing else, just these blowers that have this incredibly high decibel level. And so we enacted the ban and we put out notices and we said, we're going to give people 2.5 years, the lawn companies, so that they can, once they're it wouldn't be a big impact for them. Once their gas blower died, they usually last a year and a half, maybe a great one will last 2 years. They can then replace them with electric blowers. And what happened is it's set to go into effect in July of 2024. They realized, oh my gosh, now I only have 6 months. I basically ignored it. Now, there are a lot of companies that have actually been transitioning to it, and they're great. And you can find a company that just uses all electric, um, even with their lawnmowers or whatever, but we're not requiring that, just the blowers. And so now they've complained to Senator Broder that they are taking away our right to use electric blowers, free market, all of that. And my position is this is what the residents wanted. This is why we enacted it. This is for the betterment of the city of Winter Park, for our enjoyment. And I voted to give them an extension because I know that they just, now all of a sudden it's hit them. Excuse me. And, we don't want to see them go out of business. So we're giving them, we gave them an extension. I am for the ban on just gas blowers. Now, Senator Broder has said he wants to preempt it. What he will do, the reason he pulled the bill from the last hearing 2 days ago and didn't go forward with it was because all of the, excuse me, I hope I am not getting a cold. I think it's allergies. But he pulled it because all of the cities in the South, Florida, complained bitterly. They said, we've already enacted this. This has worked. This is great. And so now he's looking at ways that he can allow them to keep it, maybe grandfather them in, but preempt the rest of the state from doing it. And he's asked Winter Park to come up with a new solution. And I don't know what that's going to be because it has to come before the whole commission. So that's where we are with the issue right now. I don't know whether it's going to stand or not, but that's where we are with it.
Nearby cities, some smaller than Winter Park, use single member district voting as they believe that neighborhood district commissioners and mayor are more accountable to the voters. If elected, will you support putting single member district amendment on the ballot and let the Winter Park voters decide? Why or why not?
I'm all for putting something on the ballot. I believe it's up to the residents to make the decision. So I would be supportive of putting it on the ballot. Do I think that we need single member districts? No, I do not. I think we are well represented. I think that there are, even in our election today, there are candidates from all the different districts. And I think that once you have, if you're just campaigning for for your district, it doesn't work. You have to look at the needs of the whole city because we, for example, flooding, it goes from one neighborhood into the next. So, do we allocate money just for this to fix this little portion over here? And I have found that it creates more bickering a lot of times. Maybe it works in other communities, but Winter Park, I just don't think we need it. And I think our current people who are running in the election right now prove that. So, but I would be for putting it on the ballot.
Name a strength, a weakness, an opportunity, and a threat to Winter Park, the standard SWOT.
Okay. My strength is I'm a doer. I get things done. I say I'm going to get it done, and I did. I pushed to make sure we got done all of the things, whether it's playground, and I don't leave it at there. It's funding. How are we going to get this done? How are we going to get our police? How are we going to maintain staffing in our government? Say I'm going to do something, follow through with it. And if I don't, I look at you, I look you in the eye, and I said, "This is why we can't get this done right now." For example, with the leaf blower thing, um, a weakness. Um, I guess sometimes I just maybe because I came from the private sector and Winter not just Winter Park, but all government works at a much slower speed to get things done. It's just the nature of the beast. And I get a little bit impatient because if I say, okay, let's get this done, I would like it done. Like Seven Oaks Park's taking 4 years. So that's a little, but I understand it's because we're putting new roads in, parking, et cetera. I just would like to move a little faster. So I think that's a little bit of impatience. Sometimes that's a weakness. Opportunities. I think Winter Park is in just, we are just such a great city and there's so much we can fix. We can actually make things happen and fix our infrastructure. We've done it with so many projects. And I just want to continue to see us to do that. And
A threat.
threat. I think the divisiveness in politics is one of the biggest threats we face right now. Um, it's so this is nonpartisan. This race is nonpartisan, and it should be because we represent the entire community. If your street is flooding, if your manhole cover is blowing, you don't care what party is in there. You just want the problem fixed. And that's part of our community, bringing people together. I will always represent everybody in the community. I don't care your party, your race, your ethnicity, your religion. We're all about community. And that's a strength of Winter Park. And that's what makes us so strong. So I hate to see any divisiveness in our town politics.
Do you have a plan, or what is your plan, for managing parking at the library when big events happen at the event center?
Okay, full disclosure, I am the liaison between the commission and the library. And I pushed for parking, more parking at the library. This commission, when the library was built, it was supposed to have a parking structure, it never happened. It was supposed to have more parking. It didn't happen. So now this mess got dumped on us. And we have the funding for parking. We were going to build more parking. Only reason, and I actually am the one that said, hey, can we just take a beat on it because of all the massive flooding we had after Hurricane Ian? We're having a basin study done, and some of our parking has been collapsing a little bit. And I certainly don't want people to park and their cars to go down. So and we've got photos of the flooding where we were going to put more parking. So I said, can we just get the basin study in so we can fix the drainage underneath so that the parking is secure? So I got it going and we were all set to go on it. And I have to admit, I pulled it back because I just want to make sure we do it right and it doesn't sink. So it will happen. Hopefully by next fall, we'll be able to build that lot because we'll have the basin study back. And I know it's a problem right now. And I want to do it right. I don't want to put good money into bad money with parking.
If the voters honor you by electing you mayor, name one or two legacies you would like to leave because of your service.
Um, well, if I can get infrastructure fixed, I think everybody will be happy for many, many, many generations to come. Um, and just continuing to make this the best place for us to all live, work, and play. I love the city. I've been here 41 years now. Just to continue with all the wonderful programs, continuing with the charm, continuing with the arts and culture. It's not just the infrastructure; it's the people bringing us all together. That would be a great legacy.
Rollins College wants to build staff accommodations that do not meet code currently. What are your thoughts on how the commission should respond?
I would love to answer that question. I can't for two
Yes.
reasons. One, it's coming before the commission next Wednesday. And two, there is another commissioner sitting in here who I introduced earlier, and it would be a violation of the sunshine law. And we both could be kicked out for ethics violation. So I am so sorry. I cannot answer that question.
I get it. I get it. Um, I've read that our Winter Park police officers have an average salary of $63,500 a year, which is just slightly above the average, I guess, from the surrounding areas. What do you think should be done about police compensation, or are you comfortable with it where it is?
W- I'm comfortable right now where it is. We do not pay what Orlando pays. They pay a lot more per officer. And if you go to big cities, they get a lot more money. But we had to raise the salaries enough to attract. We used to get 100, 150 applicants per position. We were down to 10 or 12 from around the country. And these were not the people, they were being fired from their other precincts. So now with our salary, with our salary increase, we're back to about 100 applicants per position, and that way you can get the best, and that's what we want. So maybe we pay literally just 3,000 or so more than the surrounding communities now, but it's so worth it because look at our force, look at our response time. And I can give you an example, even with respect, this one is just with fire, but we had a lightning storm about 6 weeks ago, and it hit a house in the tree streets, and it just went up in flames. They got there so fast, it didn't get to the neighboring houses. They were able to get there that fast. That's the response time you want. And our police officers, I was driving by the ninth grade center one day, and I saw on a Saturday, I saw SWAT officers going in and out. And I said, what are they doing there? But they are, if there's a problem at a school, they're on a grid pattern. 1 minute, 27 seconds. It's the longest that it would take them to get to that school. They know that school cold. They practice. They're in and out. On holidays, weekends, summers, so that there's no students around, of course. So that's the kind of training. That's the kind of response time. And yes, I'm happy to pay them a couple $1,000s more.
What specific ideas do you have to increase the supply and quality of affordable housing and to preserve existing affordable housing?
Mhm. That's a really tough issue in Winter Park. When I first got elected, we reinstated the housing fund, and this is for Habitat for Humanity. And the cost of the city would provide the money to buy the lot, $250,000. Um, right now, to build a Habitat for Humanity house costs between 500 and 550,000. This is according to Hal George. And that's with volunteers. That's what's getting a lot of the product donated. Now, to build that same house, the land is between four and $500,000. The city just doesn't have that kind of money I mean, maybe there'll be one or two more habitat houses, but that's the cost of the dirt for it. And so it's become too expensive. When you look at developers, right now, there's been three churches that have sold off a lot of their property. Developers, when they've come to the city, they come in with plans for big, um, expensive homes, townhouses, whatever developments. They're not looking at affordable housing. We can't make them do it. What the city is looking to do is extend the CRA because it's going to sunset in 2027. We're looking to expand it two ways. One, timeline, an extension until 2047, and we're looking to expand the area. We asked for three different expansion areas: Orange Ave, Lee Road, Fairbanks. Orange County said no to Fairbanks. I know to, I'm sorry, Lee Road and Orange Ave, but yes to the Fairbanks up to I-4. We would have to then annex some of that land in. but it's controlled by um, unincorporated Orange County, Orlando, and Winter Park. And that way, with CRA money coming from the county and from us, we can fix the drainage issues up there, and perhaps, and then we can partner with the different, because they have said, the CRA said they're very interested, not the CRA, but the Orange County has said they're very interested in getting affordable housing. So perhaps up out there, with the cities providing a lot of the infrastructure that a developer wouldn't have to. We're going to have to work with developers and give them incentives, whether it'll be a combination, it will be a combination. If Winter Park and annexes it, us, but we'll be getting the money from also Orange County to help fix a lot of the drainage, street problems, et cetera, out there. In order to get maybe some affordable housing, that would be an area that we could possibly put it in. But we haven't it hasn't been finalized yet. They haven't agreed to the extension. They haven't agreed to anything yet. But that's one of the areas we're looking at.
Recently been reported that Orange County Mayor Demings is bringing up the penny for transit again.
Mhm.
Do you support or oppose a penny sales tax for mass transit? Why? If a penny sales tax is being considered, what should those funds be used for?
I think the penny sales tax should be used to improve our buses for number one, so people can actually get to work, not have it take 2 or 3 hours, but an hour. We need more. And then more start, for example, the Sun Rail, have it run on weekends, have it run more frequently so people can use it. So I think it would be a good thing to improve um, our infrastructure. That'll help with our parking problems too. We won't have as many cars on the street and going back and forth in our congestion. So there's a number of things it could be used for.
It's often been said that there's a holy trinity between cars and parking and businesses.
Mhm.
What is being done to address traffic and congestion as more businesses are added?
I can tell you what we're doing, for example, by Seven Oaks, we are building a lot of those businesses, they're in where they are, there's no parking. And it's the same as on Park Avenue. So we're building a parking lot for all of those businesses so that they can use it. That's the only way they can flourish. That's the only way they can exist. Same on Park Avenue. If we didn't, there's parking garages at each end, there's on street parking, there's parking lots. Those businesses couldn't exist unless we had that parking. So we are, it's a push pull. Um, will we require developers to, for example, Trader Joe's? I know there's not enough parking there, but they're within their limit. Whether it's Whole Food, whether it's Winter Park Village, we require developments to provide their own parking. What we need to do is fix our infrastructure, fix our sidewalks so they don't, and fix our make bike paths safe so people can leave their car that live in Winter Park at home and can ride their bike or can walk, feel safe walking. They don't feel safe walking down Fort Aloma, Brewers. They don't feel safe walking from Orange Avenue over to uh, Hannibal Square or over to Park Avenue. So there's things we can do to reduce some of the traffic too, and that's part of our infrastructure fix.
Have you looked at tiny houses as a location? And if yes, tell us why. And if not, why not?
Um, I know one of our other commissioners has mentioned that before, the tiny houses, but the residents put up a fuss when they heard about that and they said no. So, and we just haven't looked any further because we don't have any place to put them. Now, that might be an idea if we can get Fairbanks and I-4, but right now, no.
The old library was supposed to be sold soon to reduce the $30 million loan. Why can't we sell it as promised to the voters previously?
Let me tell you, that is the $100 million question, and I do not have a solid answer for you on that. When there's been two commissions or three commissions, there have been committees set up. What do we do with the old library site? Nobody can come to an agreement on what we should do to it. So, right, we put out a request for proposal. One came in for an office park, but there wasn't enough parking for it, and the neighbors didn't want people parking up and down their streets. And it just wasn't going to pay the city. It was on a long-term lease agreement. It wasn't going to pay enough to make it worthwhile. And the Science Museum just didn't work out at all. So we don't know. I think right now we're just going to hold on to it and wait and see what comes along that everybody can be in agreement on. Right now, nobody can agree. So we're going to probably do what's known as land banking it and hopefully put a nice sign up that says welcome to Winter Park. And then as time goes on, hopefully we'll be able to come to some conclusion as to what we should do to it. Right now, I am sorry to say we don't know, and we are open for ideas too. We are open for suggestions.
Are you happy with the level of transparency at City Hall, both for conducting meetings and sharing information with the citizens?
Yes, I think that there's always room for some improvement for sharing information with the citizens. I try to do that a lot with my emails. I can't do it while I'm campaigning, but to let everybody know what departments there are, who's working in them, what they do, how you can get in touch with them. Um, our city, we have a communications department. They're great. They're always putting out emails. Um, they're putting out information with your bills. A lot of people do it online now, so they're not getting some of that information. But yes, I think there's some room for improvement, but we are very transparent in anything that you want to know. We all of our meetings are public. You can always listen to them. If you decide you want to listen to it in 2 weeks, you can. So I know we do on commission try to be 100% transparent. It's a little frustrating to me though. I wish, and I understand the sunshine law. I would love to be able to speak to my fellow commissioners about issues because we could iron out a lot rather than having to, do it on the dais. But the good news is you all get to see how what our thinking is and get to see how sausage is made, so to speak. So it's a two-way street.
The city of Winter Park has a contract with Westpro for recycling, and it only allows recycling of plastics one and two.
Mhm.
The city of Orlando has a different contract with a different company that allows recycling of plastics one through five. Question is, has the city looked at adding the additional plastic containers to the contract? And when might that be happening?
I know the city just signed a new contract. Our lease with Waste Pro is up and they just re-signed it. And there were so many companies. We got bids from and we put out an RFP, so we got a lot of bids in. It's just that they were the least expensive, and I know the rates have gone up, and a lot of people have complained about it, but our rates have gone up because that's the new contract best deal that we could get. So right now, I don't see it because it's a cost issue.
Okay. Um, Cite an example of a change you would propose to improve Winter Park government, and how would your proposal be measured and evaluated?
To improve Winter Park government,
Mhm.
mm, since I'm so involved in it on a daily basis, I'm not really sure on that question. Um, I think that there's always room for um, more access to all of us, and perhaps we have the coffee talks once a month, and it's a different commissioner that does it every month. So maybe meetings. I think maybe meetings, putting up a time that like I will be there every other Thursday at 3 o'clock if you want to come and speak if you have any issues. I think that there's maybe a lot of different things we could do that way. Um, Publish more, and I personally try to do this, more of the information about who works in what department, what they do, how you can contact them. So those are some concrete things so that people don't feel like there's this wall and they don't know how to get through to it.
Mhm. What gaps, if any, do you see in the current portfolio of community assets, be it a high-end hotel or something else that you think would add value to the community?
Right now, I think we are doing a great job of balancing our business and our community. Do I want to see? We've got two new hotels that were just built in Ravadage, the Hilton and the Marriott. We've got all kinds of new business coming in, and business that most towns and cities would just scream for. And I think we have to keep the balance. Winter Park it was founded and it's a city of homes, and we have to be very cognizant of the impact on residents. Of course, as residents, we want good restaurants, movie theater, etc. but we also want to maintain our charm because that's what keeps us so special. And that's why we have uh, people wanting to open their businesses here. Big developers want to come in here. Small businesses want to be here. Residents want to live here. And we've got to maintain it's a balance. It's just a balance.
Utility undergrounding. Not sure I've got the current information here,
Okay.
but the city will not be finished with its utility undergrounding for 5 more years.
Correct.
Does that meet your approval? That's 5 more hurricane seasons we must experience with potential power loss and flooding.
Oh, I would love it if we could have it all undergrounded by now. And things happen that were just completely out of our control. Once COVID hit, supply chain, not only were things backed up for years, the cost went up for like a generator, $8,000. Now that same generator is $29,000. So between the cost increases, between really just being able to get a hold, there are so many cities that we buy, let's say we buy 10, they buy 1,000, they're getting it first. So there's a number of issues, and that's what caused the delay in getting it all done. We have a program, we were ready. We have to keep a few generators in case of hurricane, in case we lose, so we can replace what we have. But that's the only reason that it's been delayed. And if we can get things faster, we're doing it. And we've got a great team that looks pricing, and if they see a deal, they're buying the stuff, and they're buying a lot. We were able to keep going longer than we thought because of the good buying of the fleet department, who had bought so many of these generators early on at a certain price, low price, and we were able to get those. So we were able to keep going a little bit faster than we thought. But now we've just had to, uh, we just can't get some of the equipment right now. But as soon as we get it, we go to a street.
I think you covered a lot of it in your conversations, and we've gone through the questions that I have from everybody, unless there's some more from the audience. It's so much faster when there's only one person talking. When there's two people and we're timing them, they have to cut their answers short and can't provide as much information.
And welcome. Thank you for coming.
Off of Denning at Harmon.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
I said we just recently bought a new constructed home, tear down, rebuild, right at Harmon and Orange. I mean, or Harmon and Denning, right
Mhm.
across from Mead Garden there. But coming in from Orange on Denning, there's some houses there that are just like almost abandoned. Just really almost a little. I just read a whole thing on squatters. They're
Mhm.
taking over a lot of stuff. What's the city's position on homes that are, obviously dilapidated,
Mhm.
not well kept, scary?
Well, first off, and that's why I said, you're the eyes and ears of the city. Call us, let us know. Code enforcement will go out, and they will take care of that. We have regulations, and please, I can get you the number afterwards, or just go on www.winterparkgov.com, look under code enforcement, and give them a call. If not, email me. I will make sure code enforcement gets it, because or otherwise we just wouldn't know. Thank you. No, that's a good way to handle it, and that's code enforcement. Thank you.
I think we're sort of at the end. If you'd
Okay.
like to make any closing comments, we've covered a lot
Mhm.
in her commentary, but we don't have any more questions from you guys, and let's
Okay.
let her finish up.
Well, thank you all so very much for coming. I truly, truly appreciate it. Um, as James Madison said, experience is the oracle of truth, and I come to you with experience. If I say I'm going to get things done, I will. And if for some reason I can't, I will just tell you why I can't get it done right now. That doesn't mean it'll be forgotten. I think my record speaks for itself, and I am looking forward to continuing to represent you at City Hall, giving everybody a voice, maintaining Winter Park, the charm, the character, and keep us growing. So please vote for me on March 19th or before then. Thank you.